Hello and welcome back for game 2 of this series between Hokori and Wolf Team. I'm joined as ever by Estani and Seek and Strike, and we are straight into a draft. We've already got some bands here of the Dawnbreaker and the Beastmaster and the Mars and the Enchantress. And Marcy been picked up by Hokori. Talk me through this Marcy pick. Has she been played in South America, Richard?
I think in this game it'll be a 4 for El Misho. I can't really speak too much on them. Oh, wow, that's exciting. This is a huge, really fun early game. By the way, pretty sure Wolf Team also had another draft penalty here, if I'm not mistaken. I don't believe they took that long in their first couple of bans. But back onto the question here for the Marcy. Still as a 4, huge laning power. You take the rebound, take dispose, and you end up maxing, I believe, usually the rebound. Some NAs have been NA Marcy have been going into the dispose, but we're starting to see a little bit more. Is eventually after you max out one of your skills, you pick a core that can actually benefit from the not the tag team. What's it called? The it's got some like.
I also forgot.
The third ability. Gives lifesteal, gives bonus damage. Sidekick. Thank you very much. Yeah, it's got like some funny name like that that's almost like tag team. And then you kind of buff your core with that. Because eventually she does really fall off as far as her initiation abilities go. Even with like a Blink Aether Lens, I think she's best suited as like a buffer.
Any picks jumping out to you here, Estani?
I really like the Bristleback. I think it makes a lot of sense against the Visage. Sometimes you could go Monkey King, but since you have Marcy, you cannot flex it anymore, so it makes sense. I also do like the Enigma Band because that's, let's say, the best hero that you could fit with the Marcy. Usually you want like a ranged plus a melee hero on the lane. So I'm not even sure like if because of this Enigma Band and Visage being picked out and Viper being banned also by Hokori itself, maybe they try to flex Marcy to 5 or something, or they just go like with a standard, let's say like 2 melee heroes on that lane could be a bit weird. Also, one point on Hokori is that Analog, he did play a lot of Bristleback mid, so although the hero has been lately played as hard carry, I think they can still flex it.
Yeah, and I think this dual melee lane is not really so bad if you want to run the Marcy 5, because you throw Visage out of position once, or even a Tiny, and I think they just die in this lane. Especially with a rebounded Bristleback, like the move speed buff is completely bonkers, and Bristle's definitely a hero that will take advantage of it in lane. So yeah, maybe you need to... There's the Necro ban, so it's going to be a carry Bristle for sure. If you want to break, I think the only thing that's left is Hoodwink right now, Estini's is the only obvious hero that pops out to me, but then you lose the flex on the Tiny.
Yeah, or you can go like PA Shard, but that's that's too late, or Bara Shard, but yeah. And the Marcy 5 does make sense also because on the safe lane you are more likely to have the creeps under your tower, so you can get some very good rebounds there. On that sense, Wolf Team, they might need to think about the Skyref of El Misho that they banned the last match. Because if it's open and they can flex the Marcy, that's very likely what Hokori is going like the Skyref plus any stun lock.
Yeah, pretty much. And Misho, I don't think he's been playing anything really too differently other than Marcy, Tiny, and Skyref. Marcy already picked, Tiny already picked, so yeah, seems like that might be the option. As Wolf Team actually are going to go back to the Timber for Tavo. A bit surprising. His game was kind of brutal until he got BKB, and even then it was still probably not the most fun Timbersaw game he's ever played.
He was alright though. I think the long range initiations that he was able to pull off were quite effective, and it feels with the Visage as well, and maybe not a mid-Tiny there. Maybe pushing towards something slightly different here, would you agree?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah. And like he picked into a Rubik, so he should be fine with like just picking here blindly, because if you're picking the hero against counters, just pick it as soon as possible. It just surprises me because that probably means they're playing Visage 5, which something I'm pretty sure Duster can do. He was actually top 1 Dota buff on Visage, playing as 5. Old on that times where Weeha would play the hero mid, they would flex as 5. Could be interesting. I haven't seen this hero as 5 for a long time.
Me neither.
Do you like it as a 5?
I don't know. What about you, CD? I think it's not well suited as a support these days.
Man, the issue is I convinced Duster to go back to play this hero on last season, so I must say it's good, even though it doesn't feel. But I trust him on that hero.
Okay. I'll go say the reason I don't like it is I think the Visage is a hero that needs items. He's so good with the Vlads. I mean, you almost exploded in the previous series on panel because they did not build a Vlads on an off-lane Visage. Now, on a support Visage, especially 5, I see even more reason why he might not build the Vlads. I mean, it's not the most expensive item, but you do take a lot of farm, and Visage is not a hero that farms particularly quickly. He's got to use the familiars, and that means he's not really playing aggressive and doing support things as you'd expect a 5 to do. I don't know. We'll see. I'm not against it. Duster is extremely talented on the hero, as you've pointed out, but I do think the hero is probably a bit better suited with farm. Maybe it's carry? Is it a carry Visage? Will HFN continue to not play the same hero twice this entire tour?
What's he not played yet? Out of the traditional carries.
That's a good question, actually. Let me check.
While you're checking that, Astini, I want to ask you briefly about Wolf Team's morale. I know we're still in the middle of the picks, but I think it's worth talking about. That was a hard game to lose in a rough way. Do you think they're the sort of team and the sort of guys who are able to pick themselves up and play effectively in this next game?
I think so. I think so because there's a lot on the line. They don't want to relegate. Like, of course, no one wants to, but their egos won't allow it. So they need to be on a good mental state now, and they are capable of it. So I think, yes, they are on a good mood, let's say. And the draft does make some sense. Like, now they have AA against 4 heroes that rely on healing, actually.
Yeah, they're really strong.
Yeah, and if they wanna, again, I'll try to sell this idea of having like the Timber play aggressively, a safe lane, while you have like a 3 aggro. They can definitely do if they wanna go like with a Visage carry, because then this Visage on a 3 lane would make a lot of sense, because the more damage dealt, the more he's getting stacks on his second spell. It could be one approach.
How do you feel about this Witch Doctor? Let's go ahead, Richie, first.
Oh, I love Witch Doctor. I mean, you want me to talk about Witch Doctor? He's my favorite hero in the game. Master tier Witch Doctor. I mean, this hero is great into all of the natural tanky heroes, these first 3 heroes especially. He's got Death Ward, which absolutely tears through Visage's Gravekeeper's Cloak. He does percentage-based damage versus a Tiny and a Timber Saw. Even though the Timber in the lane, it's not super good versus him, because Timber usually can out-heal up to level 2 Maledict. He doesn't care about that. Level 3 Maledict is really where the damage starts to amp up. They don't have a really great interrupt for his Death Ward this game. They have to commit either an Avalanche or throw a Visage Bird at him. Not fantastic. But as far, because the HFN pick is coming, he has not played a Juggernaut this season. He has not played an Alchemist this season, and he's not played TA this season. But he's played like Troll, Wraith King, he's played CK, Gyro even, Medusa, like almost everything else that is standard, other than a Faceless
Void. Not a bad
Void.
pick here, to be honest. Not incredible, but it's not bad.
Yeah, I think when you see Slardar, you need something with illusions or summons as a carry. Like, again, if Naga is somewhere in the meta, you could go. Or like PL.
Terrorblade or something. Luna, they're going to go for.
He is going to repeat that he has played Luna before. And I believe he's even won with it. Indeed, he has. So this is finally a winning hero for Wolf Team. But is it a winning draft, Destiny? I don't know. I'm hyper-focused on the Witch Doctor and HFN heroes.
Okay, it's Visage mid. Doesn't seem like a winning draft, to be honest. Again, I like Hokori draft more. Yeah.
What don't you like about the Wolf Team draft? What's ailing you?
I don't know. Feels like they're lacking something with this Visage mid, and again, I don't think it's a good Timber game unless they do those shenanigans. I feel like Bristleback and DP, they have so much Roche potential. I actually do like a lot Hokori's draft. That's what makes me not like so much the draft from Wolf Team, and I don't think like this Luna is gonna have amazing lane, which you really want to break down the Slardar lane. That's how you win against Slardar. guaranteeing he's not having a lane, so either Troll or a hero that has summons. But Luna, I guess this Darter is gonna have an amazing game and snowball.
Do you agree, Richard?
We'll see. I'm willing to go up to bat for this Wolf team lineup. I think maybe this ADR Visage is going to create a little bit more space than you're giving its credit. This AA pick seems pretty unstoppable as well. Like, it seems like he's going to have extremely high value throughout the entire game. And who knows, maybe Tavo this game gets off with a little bit of a better start. I'll go up to bat for them. I think we're going to see a game 3.
Okay, well, can Wolf Team's AA chill the momentum of Hokori, or are they going to take us to a 2-0 victory and a possible relegation for Wolf Team? We're going to find out with our wonderful casters. It is, of course, Snare and Bowie.
Thank you, Sarah. Big jams. And yes, we are in for the second game here, Bowie. Very important game for Wolf Team. You lose this, it's practically guaranteed relegation, or at the very least, relegation tiebreakers. Still a difficult game, I think, for this Timbersaw, but this last pick, Luna. I mean, when I'm looking at this Hokori draft, I see a lot of physical damage. I see most of the time when these physical damage drafts are being built up, a hero like Luna with high agi gate and high armor can be good to counteract it. Do you like the last pick, Luna, and will it give us a game 3?
All right. I am not particularly fond of Luna versus the heroes they have on Hokori, being the Slardar and the Bristleback. But there's one thing the panel didn't talk about, and that is probably why they picked the Luna hero. Visage Birds are considered heroes, and thus the Lucent Beam Aura or Lunar Blessing Aura works on them. And those bad boys, the familiars, have like 0.5 attack point. So that aura on these bad boys do like a gazillion damage. And it's a really strong combo when you have, you know, both Luna and Visage being played as cores. It's a very strong combo. Pretty much the same strategy that we saw in game 1. Like they want to group up with the Luna. Luna is the substitute for the Dusa here. But Visage now brings a little bit more siege power, which they lacked in game 1.
Yeah, that is true. Game 1, it did feel like there were many times where unless they won a very strong fight, they couldn't necessarily push up onto these towers. But Visage can definitely help on that front. And having a hero like this AA as well, there's a lot of healing that must be coming out from Hokori, so AA will help to counteract that. But talk to me about this Hokori draft as well. There's so much physical damage that they have here. Do you like how much overwhelming physical damage they have? You don't feel like it's too much in this basket? I mean, they have heroes on the side of Wolf Team that can buy items like AC, for instance. So do you think this is a winning strat from the side of Hokori?
Yeah, you know, physical damage is weird. Unlike magical damage, it's much harder to go wrong with a lot of physical damage than it is to go wrong with a lot of magic damage. It feels like the counters don't feel as effective. So I don't mind it. I feel like it's going to give them really good tower siege. It's going to give them really good Roche. And this Bristleback, like if you actually look at a lot of, you know, professional carry players, tier hero lists, Bristleback is up there for a lot of those guys. It's just an insane carry. Like, he does way too much damage later on. He farms really quickly. His Axe is broken. Ever since they took out the... usually, the Bristleback had to get a talent that increased the amount of goo stacks for the Axe to be effective. Now it's just inbuilt into the Axe. So, it just gets Axe, and this hero is broken, basically. I do feel like it's not necessarily a bad draft for Wolf Team, but if Hokori hits their timings, I think it's going to be much cleaner for them to abuse their net worth advantage than it was in game 1, where, you know, you had the Luna Axe that did end up working, but it was just hard to execute. Physical damage drafts, you just run at people and they die.
Yeah, and to make matters worse, you know, the Slaughter boosting that damage. Honestly, I'm really fearful for Tavo's early game. Like, this is not a fun lane. Playing into Bristleback Witch Doctor, Maledict with all of this physical damage, that's not an enjoyable time for Tavo. So he needs to play extremely well, I think, early game, just to make sure that this Timbersaw gets going on the map. Something that I actually wanted to talk to you about as well. Like you mentioned, this is a lot of similarities in this draft between game 1 and 2 for Wolf Team. But this time around, because they have Visage mid instead of Tiny, where does the initiation come from? Like, how do they start these fights? They're going to want to group up and move forward like that, but how do they force Hokori to play on the tempo that they want them to, rather than Hokori just getting too difficult to deal with themselves?
That's a good question. And, I mean, the answer is the same one, but this time it's a position 4 Tiny instead of a mid Tiny. And, you know, it's even more uncertain whether this Tiny will get an early blink or not. And if he struggles in the laning stage, it can definitely become a problem. Obviously, Wolf Team, as a draft, they do want to group up. The question is, will HFN group up a little bit earlier than he did in that game 1? It definitely felt like he was not really keen on grouping at all until it was very, very late. This time, if they do group up, they have very good timings that don't need items. Like, sure, you don't have initiation, but if you just group into a tower, if you just occupy the enemy big jungle, you don't necessarily need to kill anyone. You just deny farm and like you grab map control. If they do group up, then it could be okay for Wolf Team. Very keen to see how they're going to play this mid game. And I mean, we're a little bit scared for Tavo, but it's also a game with more strength heroes, especially on core roles. You have this Core Slaughter, Core Bristle, and the Marcy. So if he gets a good game, you know, he could kind of get away with murder. But it's all about this lane. I feel like even though you could say Timber is good against physical damage, the Maledict plus the Crew Spray could be very deadly.
This is a very scary... Oh god, he's going to lose his courier as well. Feels bad. Gardic already putting the screws out. At the same time, though, at the very least, Duster's doing the same to Vitaly. So no offlaner is allowed to have a good start today. It's not going to happen. This Switch Doctor hero, honestly, the changes to Maledict is all I think that what made this hero viable these days. Since the spell got buffed as massively as it did. I haven't seen it being leveled up just yet, so he's holding off, deciding if he's going to need a point into the paralyzing cost or just the heal, but honestly, I can't see him doing much better than Maledict. They got Maledict out onto Tavo. I think he actually would have been dead already. And he realizes this, but it's a bit too late. Tavo will be safe underneath his tier 1 tower. He'll be okay.
I think he's dead, actually.
Let's see. He's fine. He's fine. He's fine.
The last Quill's hit, I think that would be a lot of damage. That was the 5th one. But yeah, Maledict definitely buff Witch Doctor quite a bit. But the other thing this hero is really good about is healing. And with the cells being nerfed, it is actually another layer of Witch Doctor that makes him good. It's not going to be necessarily something he goes for in this lane, not right now. But all of these heroes that have a little bit of healing seem to become way more popular. You know, Warlock, Dazzle, and the Witch Doctor. Feel like pretty good heroes in this patch.
Actually, talk to me about that, right? South America versus a lot of other regions in the world right now isn't as fond of having a heal support mandatory every single game, no matter what. King RD, no heals from you, but most likely going to be the first blood. Oh, wait, no mana, no, Yuma ran out of mana, couldn't get off the last Quill Spray. King RD is going to survive because of this. Oh my gosh. Dota 2 is a game of margins, and this margin favorable for King RD, as they also end up losing their Ancient Apparition on the other side of the map. But talk to me about this. Why do we lack healing support every single game in South America the same way we do elsewhere right now?
I mean, I think it's a mix of a lot of things. You know, first of all, with the DPC, every region just develops its own meta. And, you know, there's a lot of arguments of which meta is better, which meta, you know, is going to work at TI. But, you know, basically, the South American teams don't care as much. And, you know, sometimes they're wrong. But sometimes, you know, you see Viper 5 being picked up by OG. And it kind of owns. And it was made in South America. So I think it's hard to really say that, you know, everything in South America is like worst or not as optimal as other regions. It's really the test of time that will tell what's better or not.
I mean, last patch, South America, we used to see every other region disdaining the mid-tiny. Then the major rolls around and everybody realizes, actually, this is very, very good. So, curious to see how this is going to impact the future development of the meta. For now, though, still just a slow start to this game.
Oh, HFN?
A lot of damage going on onto HFN. He might be in danger here. Vitaly trying to run him down. Not going to have enough damage. And in fact, Vitaly has to step back from the cold feet. They have enough damage to, in fact, just go ahead and kill El Misho, who is here on the pause for Marcy in this bottom lane. All right, good kill. HFN, the one to pick up the gold as well from that one. Get pulled a salve as well to make his life, or a tangle rather, to make his life a little bit easier. Okay, decent start in this bottom lane.
Yeah, I think we didn't really talk about this bottom lane. AA is actually the highest attack range hero level 1 out of any hero in the game. He has 675, so he benefits quite a bit from that second point of Lunar Blessing that HFN has. And once he uses Chilling Touch, it's even more attack range. This is a super annoying lane for these two melee heroes. As you can see, Even though Marcy has a lot of catch, Duster can stay really far behind and still be a nuisance.
The fact that he's gone for these 2 points into cold feet, Vitaly can pretty much never run down Luna. Like, just won't be able to do it without getting frozen up. I actually like this. Very nicely done by Duster to create the space. HFN, of course, playing Luna. HFN Luna. This is HFN, so the likelihood of him going for the Ags build, very, very low. As we see Duster getting ran down right now. Can they get the cold feet off in time? Yes, they do come out, so Vitaly won't be able to immediately run down Duster. Might actually die for this as well. HFN watches his support die before him, but immediately finds vengeance. This is very good trade in this bottom lane. Luna getting the kill onto Slaughter. That is so, so nice. Unless Luna dies here to Elmisho, it's unlikely, but still need to be a little bit careful. Elmisho, in fact, needs to watch out. This is a 2 points into Lucent Beam. A couple more right clicks coming out from HFN, looking for the double. Will be able to pick him up as well. Doesn't get flagged as a double kill, but nonetheless, both heroes down bottom, taken down by this Luna.
This lane is crushing Hokori right now. You can see the 35-9 on the Luna versus the 12-0. So I think, the panel kind of talked about it. Alk and I forgot the other strength melee hero that HFN didn't play. So they kind of wanted to cover their bases against those heroes, and they are just being destroyed by these two ranged heroes in the bottom side of the map. It was like a game where Vitaly is going to struggle much more than game 1.
This one of these heroes from the bottom lane, though, will make his way towards middle, and Elmisho will help furnish a kill towards Analog here, enabling this DP to pick up something. Does mean that Elmisho had to steal away the double damage rune, but whatever, is what it is. 3 heroes positioned in this mid lane here, Bowie. They want this tower, and they want it now. They even pop Ghost for this one as well. Doesn't seem like Wolf Team is bringing in that many heroes and reinforcements. King RD is here, but King RD immediately gets disposed back. Dude, Maledict Spirit Siphon. What the hell are you supposed to do here? King RD is certainly going to die, but they're looking for revenge, though. With these Visage Bursts trying to chase down Elmisho, won't be able to do so. Analog, in the meantime, forcing back 40R with his own Spirit Siphon. And that is going to be the end of the Tiny's life. However, because they had to force forward with this fight play onto the Visage, it did mean that the Ghosts weren't putting pressure onto the tower itself. So although Tiny does die, immediately respawns and ends up saving the tier 1 tower in the process.
Yeah, a really good move by Hokori. They kill, we're talking about this Tiny not having initiation. This might be a struggle. But look what Yuma is doing. A lot of heroes actually struggle against Timbersaw because they're forced out of lane out of his sheer burst damage. But Bristle is a hero that can just stay between the enemy tier 1 and tier 2, and he's farming wave plus Ancients. He does get collapsed upon right now, but
his life is forfeit. Let's see if he can get out, actually. Analog is trying to help him here. There's a lot of damage between the DP and this Bristleback. King RD forced to run away. Unfortunately, because he has to go directly into the face of this Visage, the Spirit Assumption, or Soul Assumption rather, will do more than enough damage to kill him. Spirit Siphon here for Analog, trying to keep him alive. In the meantime, Luna got taken down in this bottom lane. 40R in the gang. Do they have enough to kill this DP? King RD there with the Avalanche will prevent the escape, and that is going to be a double kill for Visage. Luna does die in the bottom lane since they had to abandon her to go for those plays, but you lose your carry in exchange for their carry and their mid, and you defend mid tier 1. I think you'll take this trade any day of the week here, Barry.
They are losing bot tier 1, so at the end of the day, you do see the team that doesn't have that much siege actually taking the tier 1 tower, and Yuma getting an AA kill. So I think it ended up being pretty balanced overall, but this was necessary. Vitaly was struggling way too much in that game, so it's nice that they actually help him a bit. And one problem I see is for DR. He is very underfarmed at the moment. He's right there with the Slaughter.
Yeah. Normally you want to see your Visage at this stage of the game much further ahead, starting to move in towards getting these much needed items. Looks like Wraith Pact is going to be the option in this game for him, in lieu of getting an early Ag Shard or Scepter. Alright, I can live with that. Tavo might not be able to live with what's coming towards him though, as they will trigger Ghosts around him. This Timber Sword, can he escape? Beautiful Timber Chain onto the high ground there, getting very far away from the Paralyzing Cask. No way to cancel that out. And he forces out these Ghosts from Analog. Not going to be enough time to both get to the tower and sufficiently damage it. So you're probably okay with having to vacate this top lane if it forces them to use this big ultimate.
Oh, for sure. You can see that even though they killed the Luna, HFN already finished the Mask of Madness. He is ready to start scaling. Mid lane though, they do find a Marcy.
She's going to be brought down here, and Yuma won't be able to find revenge. Unfortunately, at this stage of the game, yeah, your right-click damage can scale to a magnificent level, but don't really have many good routes of catch unless the Vitali Slaughter is in the mix. So if he's the only one there running them down, you can almost always get away from him, which is one of the issues sometimes when we see these carry bristlebacks. Very reliant on having a squad that can allow him to dish out this damage without the enemy just running away in front of his face.
Look at Yuma now. Look at the dream that is playing bristleback carry.
Tavo says no. Tavo says no. Tavo's... Oh, man. Well, this dream just turned into a nightmare, Bowie. This sucks, dude. Stole away pretty much all the farm there. And he has a haste boost, so they can't even punish this.
Yeah. Yeah, that was really good by Tavo. They actually had no vision. He just decided to see what was up. Gets pretty lucky there.
Hashtag game sense, man. So, this game, last game you were saying that he was being a bit greedy on the Tavo Timbersaw going for the early Kaya. Now he's gone for a much more conservative build, but we'll talk about it in a second because HFN might be in danger. Dispose will be there from El Misho. Level 6 reveal from the Switch Doctor. Absolutely more than enough damage between the Maledict and that Death Ward to enable the kill onto Luna. They don't have enough themselves with these two supports to get revenge. That's one of the huge things about the Switch Doctor, right? There's not that many supports in the game that can 100% guarantee that we can kill even core heroes, provided they don't have BKB at this stage of the game.
Even with the BKB now, it actually goes through if you use the Maledict before BKB. So even that won't save HF in this game. But you're right. It's kind of a... The problem with this game is usually Luna is allowed to farm a lot, but there's a lot of like really fast heroes in catch on the side of Hokori. There's Marcy, there's Lauder. So he has to be careful. There was actually no wards there. They were just camping that area off the map, and they ended up stumbling on HFN, just like Tavo stumbled upon that stack.
Game sense, man. This is why we have thousands of hours in this game. Well, tens of thousands, honestly, at this point.
I mean, I have like 5 hours. I never played this game. I'm just bullshitting everyone here.
All right, this time they do have vision, though, onto HFN. And you were just talking about it, how many ways they have, not just of killing him quickly, but of closing the gap and not allowing him to farm. He's actually been dead 3 times, it feels like, just in the last 2 minutes. Not allowed to do anything on this map. As soon as he shows somewhere, they immediately smoke up onto him. They're like, sorry, mate. You're not going to be getting the same... We're not going to give you the same freedom we did in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I was talking about. Like, usually you see Luna's just grouping up for that... Oh, hold on a second here.
God,
Tavo.
Let's reach onto Tavo. Getting him, and there's going to be a big ultimate coming in from the Ancient Apparition as well, though. So yes, they killed the Timbersaw, but it's going to cost the Slaughter's life as well. 40R in with these birds. Will they have the necessary damage? Analog on the high ground. Has Cold Feet triggered out onto him, though. Will these actually stop him? No, they will not. Analog still running. There's going to be an Ice Vortex, though, which provides the necessary vision. Soul Assumption cleans them up from this Visage. And they still haven't taken this mid-tier 1. They've been bashing their heads against this for so long. And now suddenly it's Wolf Team showing up with HFN, 4 points into Lunar Blessing on top of these Visage Familiars. This tower is not long for this world.
Yeah, finally they group up. I was going to say, the reason they were dying is that they were farming without going for these objectives first. And they do a really good job at taking towers if they group up. You can see the extra 47 damage. Well, now Luna's not nearby. But with the Vlad and the Lunar Blessing, those birds hurt like hell. And once you get more levels on 4DR, it's going to be even worse. So finally, they join forces. They get a little bit of breathing room, and that's a stack that HFN finally gets to farm.
Long last, he's home. This is where he lives. He enjoys it here. Getting as much farm as humanly possible. We were talking about it a little bit earlier, so what do you think the build's going to be from him? Just a normal standard Manta, BKB style Luna?
Oh yeah, I would be very surprised if he goes for the same build we saw Yuma go for. It's probably going to be the standard, Shard Daedalus build once he gets BKB, but hold on a second, because mid lane, there's some action going on.
Almost killed El Misho, but fortunately has access to that rebound, get himself away from trouble. However, that forces him away from the tower, which 4DR will dutifully clean up. So the first mid tower of the game goes in favor of Wolf Team. Despite Hokori having made several pushes onto the tier 1 on the other side, they failed to get it for now. So this is going to be increasing the map presence that Wolf team have right now. Although they don't want to keep it this way. They'll smoke up with El Misho and Gardic. They want to use the Death Ward. They want to get some kill in this top lane. Duster will be the one to break the smoke. HFN will happily watch him die. Be like, well, it had to be one of us. I'm glad it wasn't me.
That could have been me. So Duster does what is expected of him. And now we are approaching the big power spike here for Yuma. He's gonna get that egg, so feels like he's playing a lot of these eggs heroes recently. And once that's up, dude, it's gonna be free Roche. We're gonna have level 2 corrosive haze very closely to Vitaly. And unlike game 1, I think it's very hard for Wolf team to really defend Roche. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Hokori just brute forcing it. They might not even need to use Exo for that.
Although another item that is going to be revealed right now is the Wolf Team Blink Dagger. They've gotten one for King RD, so they finally have some degree of reach. See where they can get on the map here. They've given him some farm priority. They sort of did this in game 1 as well. They left him in the jungle to finish his ags. But that was on a Zeus. Here, that's far less impactful with that degree of gold. See what Tiny can get here. Misho is the one that's probably going to show first, and King RD gets this vision, but he doesn't want just a mere Marcy kill. Might have to be forced to settle for it though. They'll get the jump, get the kill. King RD gets the kill with the gold. All right, close to the 4 off we go.
Yeah, unfortunate, but really good. I was kind of scared because King RD's first few minutes were pretty hard for him. Blind jump.
Blind jump into 2-hero avalanche though. They find Gardic. Gardic will die almost immediately here. Can't get off a long enough death ward to threaten. And they say, well, you come to fight in our triangle, we'll do the same to you. We're not just going to get a kill, though. We're also going to steal away these Ancients. Although Yuma did end up finishing the Ags. Hokori don't want to let this go for free, though. Analog getting jumped on. There's going to be the Ice Blast as well. Analog can't heal back up. That's just a straight-up kill. Now they're going to be moving towards Vitaly. No BKB available for the slaughter. So Tavo going to be dishing out the damage. A quick kill has happened. 40R will die, though, on the Visage. Ran down by Yuma. But this will also cost El Misho's life, it looks like. Tavo can't get close enough in time. Rebound. We'll get El Misho away to safety. That's still, though, 3 heroes in the triangle for the price of 1. 40R does die, but they not only take away the kills, but they take away some of the farm time of this Yuma Bristleback. This entire time, guess what's happening? HFN doing his usual thing, rising bottom, now ports top to rise that side. They need this Tavo kill. If they don't get this, it starts to feel a bit bad, but thanks to the Maledict, they have more than enough damage to actually claim that kill, to sort of equalize what's been happening in the last minute or so.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf team, I'm not sure if it's insane game senses, if it's luck. They managed to steal some very juicy stacks randomly. There was no vision in the Ancients that, it was being done. So it was really good for them. I think it alleviates a lot of the farm that could be going Yuma's way. But yeah, I mean, HFN, once again, I mean, this guy is reliable. You'll give him a good lane, he'll get you some good farm, some good timings. The question for Wolf Team this game is, will they be a little bit better at executing those timings? I think Luna and Medusa are definitely 2 heroes that he's very proficient at. Oh, maybe.
Will help as well if he gets this bonus gold from a Gardic kill, which they should be able to find. Nice 4-star play from the Witch Doctor, but wait, what? Oh, okay. I understand why he survived, because at the end of the day, HFN cares more about creeps than about heroes, so doesn't go for the straight-up Lucent Beam. All right, that's pretty decent to be able to escape from that situation.
Yeah, I mean, he was behind the tree, so they had no vision, unfortunately. Once he realized he was there, he went for the Lucent Beam animation. But you're right, if he just run, believing the hero would be there, he would definitely cancel that TP. And now,
speaking of canceled TPs, Vitaly gets caught down bottom. Oh my god, that was amazing to watch. Shout out King RD. Wow. All right.
Roche time though.
Yeah. But they've only just started it right now. They popped a ghost as well to try and get this faster. Ice Blast is flying in here. It will gonna hit them flush. So they need to be very, very careful. King RD is here. Avalanche toss onto the Tiny. Analog falling very low. They will make sure that they get out this Death Ward, but it still costs the life of this DP. Yuma cleans up the Aegis and will snatch away the Aegis, but he needs to run for his life here. Misho will not be able to do so, though, as they toss in the Timbersaw right on top of his face, and they will be able to bring him down. Gardic also suffering the same fate. as he will find himself a foul of these Visage Familiars. And that's 4 heroes dead all across the map. Yeah, you get the Aegis, but it's a heavy cost. Now that all these heroes are dead, Luna with these birds immediately bring down the tier 2 tower in the mid lane as well.
Yeah, really good moves by Wolf Team. They show up bottom. Hokori felt like they could do it fast enough. But Analog, he's having a terrible game. This AA counter is really getting to him. He's 1-4, so he just doesn't have enough damage. There was a lot of minus armor coming from Yuma, but with the Slaughter dead, it was a little bit too slow. And speaking of too slow, Gaslit Crush doesn't land.
Starting to feel a bit complicated here at Bowie. HFN and the crew feeling very strong. They have a 3k gold lead. You were mentioning it in game number 1, where Hokori was the team that didn't have the Aegis, but they were able to accrue gold lead despite that. Similar situation here. Ice Blast, lands flush onto Yuma to reveal him as he comes in to defend down bottom. So there's no way they can catch up to HFN. They didn't put that much damage onto the tier 2 tower, but being able to get away, much more important right now. Feels like this Yuma Bristleback, despite having this Aegis, despite having the Ags, it's still not really been allowed to dish out reliable damage in an actual fight so far.
Yeah, I mean, they just need this initiation. It's been a while since Vitaly had the Blink Dagger, but they never executed it really well. He died bottom, then they used Exo, but died with Analog, so he doesn't have the cooldown. He will get back in about 30 seconds, which is probably when we'll see Hokori going for an aggressive move here. It's been a while since the Eggs is up, so I already feel like Hokori is pretty late with the timings. Like, they had the timings, but they never got to use them.
Timing that I'm really not looking forward to, at least, or Hokori's not looking forward to, is when Tavo picks up this Lotus Orb as well.
Vitaly!
Making life so much easier. Vitaly, he's in danger here. The Stone Forms will be down onto him, but not enough heroes in the vicinity to truly threaten him. And they don't have vision of these dire heroes either, so they can't take that risk. Will allow him to escape. And that's also going to allow Hokori to take over some part of this jungle back. But they've got a pretty decent ward out already from Wolf Team, so they'll be defensively minded about their movements in this bottom lane.
Oh, Analog, he doesn't have BKB. Oh, he just got it!
He just got it. Alright. If he doesn't get that BKB right then and there, he's 100% dead. But because he does, it enables him to survive the fight and get off these ghosts and try to turn things around. But the same is not true of the Slaughter and the Witch Doctor. Both of them dead. Cold feet plus Tavo on top of you equals easy death. Now Analog all alone. Doesn't have spider legs or anything to get yourself out of here, so easily ran down. Tavo on the killing spree. Yuma shows up with the buyback coming through from Goddic as well. They really want to try and run down Duster and the Gag. Yule Scepter throwing Yuma up into the air. Does still have an Aegis. He's losing his life here. The first life is gone. Death Ward from Goddic. Only really going to be good for killing Duster at this point. And once they respawn on this Aegis, they see no need to continue this fight on the side of Wolf Team, because they can just back up. They've achieved some of their objectives in the top lane. Another kill onto Analog. We force a buyback onto this Witch Doctor. And they've smoked up now on the side of Hokori, but what can they actually accomplish from this position here, Bowie?
Not much. They might get a free Tiny, which they are intentionally avoiding right now. But I think Yuma misplayed that fight a lot. He had TP for a while, and he only went for the TP once they were dying tier 3, killing Analog. So it's been like 3 or 4 fights in a row where Analog is either out of position or like it doesn't have his team backing him up. So not a crispy execution Hokori actually did in game 1, and it's just allowing Wolf Team to get away with murder. Also the item that for their finish, the Wraith Pact, that is so good versus Bristle. It literally makes this hero do like 25% less damage. I mean every hero, but Bristle is all about that sustains low damage, and it makes it much harder for him to play the game.
Yeah, especially when they have gone in for this very physical damage, overwhelming type of build. But the Slaughter as well to try and beef you up. You know, Slaughter in these situations where you're not actually getting more damage out of him, you almost wish you had a different offlaner under those circumstances. And to make matters worse, 40R is also building AC. He's going to have Wraith Pact, AC, afterwards he goes Boots of Bearing. Like, it'll be so difficult to get these kills in these fights. And notwithstanding the fact that Tavo's also getting really, really tanky. From this Lotus Orb, he's moving into a Sergeant Kaya. HFN, the only one that's not uber tanky at this point in time, but good luck getting to him reliably in these fights without just dishing out a massive damage in the process. Him and the crew is going to take the tier 2 tower down bottom. They're cleaning up this map here. Do you think they're going to go high ground? He's popping this Mask of Madness, and they're all sticking around like they're going to posture for it here, Bowie.
I mean, they can. The birds are insanely powerful right now with the level 18 on 4DR. Oh boy, that's going to be a tough one.
RD jumping forward. Analog gets off the BKB just in time. This will sound the retreat for the rest of Wolf Team. Maybe not though, because 40R might not be allowed to leave. He will find himself getting brought down here. Tavo might also not be allowed to escape as he's in danger. Yuld is up in the air to buy time, but that's all he's doing. Buying time. Unfortunately, it still goes in a kill in favor of Hokori. Alright, turns out Wolf Team a bit too greedy at this point, at least pre-having an Aegis available. End up losing 2 cores on the high ground push.
I mean, the problem there is that the Tiny was aggressively going for a tossback where, in my opinion, they could have just stand their ground and actually got racks. Like, they are really, really strong once the tower falls and Luna's glaives just start bouncing around. The fact that he went in just allowed Hokori to be able to react to it. So I think that was a big mistake from King RD. He's not usually the type of player to do things like that, but this is gonna really give a lot of space back to Hokori. Unfortunate.
Yep. Gave away the 2 core kills, gave away this mid tower which they've been defending so dutifully for so long. It just gives away a lot of map presence. Rare mistake there from King RD, so you hear that, King RD? Gotta make it up, man. Make Bowie proud. Take us to a game 3. He might actually try and make a jump here. King RD thinking about it, and indeed he will. Goes directly onto Goddic. They will be able to find him, but unfortunately the rest of the team might not have been on the same page. They don't immediately follow up, so Goddic ends up being able to escape. But King RD also with this 4-staff, somehow outplaying 2 heroes on the side of Hokori to get back onto the high ground to safety.
Yeah, the 4-step on Duster alongside the King RD one definitely makes it... I really like the itemization this game. At the end of the day, you have to kite this Bristleback. He will be walking around with 550 move speed once he, either gets phase boots or travels. So you do need to have that, insane amount of kiting to be able to handle that guy. And Roche getting pretty close to spawn, and that's going to be the big thing. I feel like Hokori is very good at just forcing that, but Wolf Team, surprisingly, in both games, they've been really good at just contesting Roches. So ideally, I would love to see Hokori actually going for a pickoff before trying to brute force it. It really didn't work out for them in every single time they tried.
They have heard you though. They're going to try for the smoke move. See who they can find quickly. Vitali leading the charge here. Has the BKB available on the Slaughter as well, so has some degree of safety. What a great target to come across. They get Tavo. This should be a very quick kill here. And they can wrap him up in a couple of hits. And the Roche, oh no.
Oh my god, dude, it was instant. Alright, I don't know, Gaben is on Hokori's side. I have no words for this.
Might need to buy back on Tavo.
Yeah,
they know, and they have outposts, so they need to buy back. Yeah, they buy back. He's coming into the fray. Analog has triggered out these ghosts. Although now it's a very awkward time for Hokori. You've got Ghost triggered. You see Roche on half health. You've got the Slaughter out on them. Feels very difficult to run away from the pit as King RD comes forward, finds the Avalanche toss onto Yuma. Ice Blast flies up, but there's too many BKBs to have that much impact, so they're going to be able to immediately melt down 40R. He buys back. Analog though, his BKB is now ended, so he dies on the outskirts of the fight. Yuma in the meantime taking down the Roshan and grabbing that Aegis. He returns to the fray to find several of his allies dead. Now he loses out on his first life. 40R right on top of this Bristleback. They have access to more than enough damage to kill him, even in the second life. And they will be able to do so. Requires 2 core buybacks out of the side of Wolf Team, but those 2 core buybacks net them a team fight victory around this Roshan pit.
Yep, this fight gets the official seal of approval of South American Roche attempt. It has to be messy. You never actually go for it when the enemy has no means of contesting, and because they did that, now they're gonna have to buy back. The DP and the Bristle, and by the way, there's no Ghost, so this might just be a lane of barracks for Wolf Team.
Might just be 2. They're bringing in the mid lane as well with King RD, ensuring that there's going to be a big creep wave inside, and they don't buy back on either. We saw this in game number 1 as well. Hokori reticent to buy back on their core heroes. They might let DP respawn and buy back Bristleback, but it might be too late. King RD thinking about jumping Goddic. Demacape keeps the Witch Doctor alive for now.
Oh,
Will they be able to make this jump? Nice grab onto HFN. They push him deep inside the base. No BKB active just yet. Still, going to be allowed to just walk away. They don't have Yuma out, so they don't have the damage. They don't want to buy back on the Bristleback with less than 20 seconds left. But that's a very expensive decision here, Bowie. 2 lanes of racks are going to go away practically for free.
I mean, it's the right decision because you know the DP doesn't have OT, but this just goes to show how broken Luna and Visage is. Like, it's honestly kind of baffling to me that it was not banned by Hokori. You know, this is such a iconic combo, especially in this patch. It's been abused in pubs, you know, everywhere. So the fact they actually gave it away is very baffling to me, and you can just see why. I mean, you can say that Luna is doing a lot of that damage, but at the end of the game, you can check how much damage Visage did, and it's going to be a lot of building damage coming from these 2 little birds.
Well, I'm excited to see that.
With the 25 talent.
It's about to hit 25. It's 21 right now. Still a little bit away, but it's very scary. Got the Boot of Burying at the ready, about to finish an AC. Even less damage from the Bristleback. Wasn't Visage first banned in the game 1? I think it was.
Yeah, this time I actually forgot which bans they went for. I think Beastmaster was banned. So, you know, this Visage, especially because they can flex to mid. I don't think there's a single South American team that plays, not in Division 1, that plays mid Visage. And this is very, very OP because as mid Visage you get more levels, and this combo just hits way harder. I mean, the game might just end right now.
Alright, let's see. You were talking about how strong it is when there's no tower and Luna's in your base. She does get tossed back in with the dispos, but there's not enough lockdown to keep her there. Yuma pops BKB, forcing them outside of the base. They do kill King RD back inside said base. Analog also had to trigger out these ghosts, but this is so complicated. They realize that they can't chase too far out. They need to be careful. And now suddenly here, wow, you've used all your BKBs. Every single one of them is down. They just have to wait for Ghost to go away. Then they can just come back.
Unless...
This Ghost, though, catches out HFN. They really want to get this kill. Ice Blast on the 2. Immediately melting down on Misho. HFN now with the BKB ultimate takes down Gardic and Vitali. Yuma dishing out as much damage as he can. Yes, he has killed Duster, but will find himself going down to Tavo. And this time around, he does not have buyback. A triple kill for the Timbersaw. Analog trying to run away. King RD will not allow it. That's another death onto the Death Prophet. Rax will fall shortly, and the game will end immediately as GG is called by Hokori. Game number 2 taken by the side of Wolf Team. The reliance on this HFN Visage, or 840R Visage with the HFN Luna. The combo was strong, Bowie, and the combo nets Wolf Team a victory.
Yeah, I think Hokori definitely had the means of winning this game, but it definitely felt like this time because they were against so much more push. You know, these bad decisions of forcing Roche, some dives, it got punished much harder by Wolf Team. So I'm a big fan of the direction Wolf Team went with this draft. You know, way more group early sort of draft. And even though they didn't do it like super early, once they had some of those item timings, HFN and 4DR, it's just easy, you know? You're just there, and it's up for Hokori to use those cooldowns to stop you. So... really good draft by Wolf Team. And Hokori, I think they just need to fine-tune a couple of things because the early game was really good. I think they killed HFN twice with some rotations. They forced early, but Analog just died way too much. The Duster AA, it felt super impactful. Much more than the ABBA in game 1.
Yeah, this AA just did so much work in this game. Those Ice Blasts preventing Analog from doing anything. Pre-BKB, he literally had no game to play on the map. It also prevents this Witch Doctor from having any influence with the healing ward. So it just felt really good overall. Hell, even El Misho, a couple of times you saw him try to utilize Sidekick Unleash in these fights. Doesn't do anything because you're playing the support Marcy, so you're very far away from having any kind of way of dealing with it. Great moves by the side of Wolf Team. They group up sooner. They didn't need as much farm as in game 1. So when they take the game to you, they bring the fight. They just seem so much stronger than in game 1. Going into this third and final game here, Bowie, before we send it back to the panel, who do you think is in a better position mentally to take that third game?
I would say it's pretty 50-50. I was kind of skeptic of how well Wolf Team would be able to recover. You know, not because it was a loss, but the way that it unfolded. But seeing how Wolf Team actually pretty much dismantled Hokori this time. I think their chances, I would even say Wolf Team has a slight edge. But we'll see how the drafts. I think the draft will pretty much dictate the win in a way. I know it's kind of, I guess, boring to say it this way, but I do feel like with this different draft, Wolf Team looked 10 times better.
That's what I love about you, Bowie. Even when you're hedging your bets, you make it sound so smart. We gotta love it. Let us see what the panel thinks, though, about what we just saw and about what we're about to see. So we send it back to Big Jam and the gang. What did y'all think about this game?
Well, Wolf Team tying it up there with an impressive Game 2 performance. Astani, why don't you talk me through what happened there for Wolf Team?
I think they played very well, especially on the tiny Blink Dagger timing, because that was also the Bristleback Agony's timing, but they got definitely the upper hand because they had the initiation, they kill Marcy, they find Bristleback on the triangle, they steal all Ancient stack. I guess that made a huge difference. So like having King RD on an initiator, that's his specialty, not playing like a Zeus backliner. That was pretty great. And they, as Bowie said, they had a better lineup to capitalize on those Hokori mistakes, because Hokori did make a bunch of them, especially on Roche decisions. They could have had some free Roches with like Zardar, Bristleback, DP. You kill one hero, like you kill AA, which is a very easy hero to kill, and you can guarantee a free Roche. But they did 2 crazy Roches attempts that cost them a lot on the game.
It felt to me like a lot of the issues there were the stacks. It never felt like Bristleback built up enough stacks, and it wasn't really able to accelerate. And it felt like a big part of that was Wolf Team's scouting of their stacks. Maybe they got a little lucky, kind of getting the Ancient one and those hard cap ones. Richie, do you think that was an issue, or is there anything else you've identified?
I did. I think particularly looking at how Hokori played that game, I wasn't really impressed with Vitaly's build. It is normal to go Mask of Madness on a Slardar, but it is not normal to build to even pick Slardar. This hero is like not a super common pick right now. So I was taking a look at the Dota 2 Pro Tracker builds, and like that is the build, right? You go Treads into Morbid Mask into full MOM and then Blink. But you look at a lot of the games that Slardar's picked into, and he's like picked into AMs. He's picked into like these super easy lanes where of course he's gonna get like an 11-minute Mask of Madness, and then his Blink is like 17 minutes. It was like a 15-minute Mask of Madness here. The Blink was super late. And that meant that Wolf Team were just able to freely siege a tier 1 tower. ADR was super far behind in the early game, as was Tabo, because of their lanes. And in this timing where it felt like Slardar could have blinked on a couple of heroes and prevented some of these pushes, like he just wasn't around. Like Wolf Team pushed the tier 1 tower for free against 5 heroes that are alive for Hokori because no one can initiate because there's no blink early. I don't think that was quite the right item build this game.
I want to talk about one more thing, Astini, before we go to break, and that's how assured Wolf Team looked. You told me right at the end of the draft that they're the sort of team who are going to be able to rally after such a hard Game 1 loss. Were you impressed by their mental fortitude there, or do you just think that was maybe a bit of a draft win?
I think it was both. Like, it was a better draft, so easier to execute, but it's also, I'll not say impressive because it's expected from them, but it's very good to see that they can lose in such a way the first game and come back resetted for a second match. And definitely it hypes up the third game of the series. I'm very looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we're all going to be looking forward to that third game. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to hype ourselves up. Don't go anywhere. You're in for a massive treat coming up.